Hey everyone, it's Alexis. I hope you are all doing well. Thanks so much for joining me today. I am going to be walking you through a project today that I made using a bunch of our new Chapter One dies. I don't know about you, but with spring just around the corner, I know that it's still freezing in a lot of parts of the world. I'm just looking forward to spring and all the blooms that we're going to see with florals. And we have some great dies in Chapter One, specifically our Floral Crescent Moon and our Flowers with Envelope die sets, which I'm going to use today. And I wanted to make something that kind of just felt very spring-like. I think I'm wishing it into existence. So I'm going to actually walk you through this little card right here. Isn't she a beaut? Sorry, I know I get really excited about flowers, but I'm using some of our opulent cardstock and our new pattern paper pad, which I'm going to show you if you aren't familiar with that yet. It is gorgeous. The patterns, the colors, and it works with our color story, which I'll tell you about as I'm going through it. So let's get right into the make, shall we? Okay, so first things first, I want to talk about kind of the inspiration behind the make today. I got a chance to work with our new pattern paper pad. Sorry, I know it's a little close, but I figure you can see it. This is our new Chapter One release. It is this gorgeous pattern paper pack, or pad I should say. It's got 80 sheets in it. They're double-sided. I'm gonna just do a little flip through so you can see the different colors and the different designs. How beautiful is that? So it comes with 20 different colors, much like our assorted cardstock, which is what it is kind of tailored to work with. So if you're familiar with our color story, we have 20 core colors, from ballet slipper to primrose, sorbet, lavender dust, mint julep. We have all these gorgeous colors that all work together. We offer assorted cardstock, glitter, embossing powders, really just a wide variety so that your makes can all coordinate if you want them to. So I saw these new patterns and I thought they were so beautiful and I loved the shapes and stuff. So I thought, you know what, I want to do a really fun spring make with the new pattern paper pad. And so I chose a kind of a bright color. I went with one of our Mango Tango designs. This is the polka dot, and on the back side it has a set of leaves. And then I also went with the Arctic Sky. I love this pattern. It's so subtle and just gives a really nice variety to any background. And then it has a really nice checkered kind of pattern on the back. So I knew I wanted to go with some spring like light blues, yellows, some really pretty greens. So I used agave and mint julep from our cardstock. But I think more than anything, I was just really inspired by our die sets. So I'm gonna just pull in all the dies that I used. I've already cut everything because I don't think you guys want to sit there and watch me cut everything on camera. Plus it would take a while. So I am just gonna pull in the different die sets. So the first one I liked was the Floral Crescent Moon die set. And I do have the SKU numbers for these sitting on the side if you like them. So the Floral Crescent Moon frame, I should say, that one is 665080. And it comes with this really nice crescent moon shape, and when you cut it out, and I cut it out of our rose gold, the matte pearl, I think this one is, and cut it out of there, so you actually get not only the framelit kind of shape, but you also get this thinlet shape that pops out and you can reuse. So I did that out of a really pretty rose gold for the make, but it comes with a bunch of different types of florals and some greenery as well. But what I really liked about this set is that each of the dies has an embossing feature on it. So you get this really beautiful extra element on each of the dies. So I pulled in from that set all of these dies right here. So this is all from the Floral Crescent Moon frame. And I've cut those flowers in shades of mango, that's not Mango Tango, that is, I'm losing my brain today. Which color is this? This is Banana Blast. I should know these by heart by now. So I cut them out of Banana Blast, and I cut the foliage ones out of this agave and also out of green tea. So I cut a bunch of different colors, a whole variety of things, but I used this die set to do it. And you'll see them in just a minute because I'm going to use, I'm going to do some paper sculpting. So I'll talk you through those. So let me get that out of the way. And then I also used our flower with envelope die set. And this one I think might be one of my favorites that we've released in a really long time. So it comes with this basic shape right here, which has some score lines. So you can actually fold this into an envelope shape. And I thought I had one nearby, but I don't think I do. But it's a great little shape. And then you can have all the flowers and leaves coming out of the actual envelope. So I used the leaves from that particular one, and I also used a bunch of the flowers as well. So I used all of these ones from the flower with envelopes die set, and I have also the number for that one, and it is 665078. So if you're interested in that particular die set, it's a great option for chapter 1. Again, I cut those out of like the same colors I did the floral crescent moon. And then to tie it up, I wanted to add a sentiment. So I used our new script sentiments in chapter 1, and that one has some really great options in it. I'm gonna pull out a couple more so you can just see. So you get these beautiful script words. So this one is obviously very large, but it says congratulations. Then you have one right here. This one is happy birthday, another good one. And then you can also use the happy for the anniversary. So happy anniversary. I used on the make today, I used with love. So I've already pre-cut it right here so you can see. And I did that out of our cobblestone cardstock. So the script sentiments, if you're interested in that, is 665089. I really like backing these with, I personally feel like glue is easy and can get a little messy when it comes to those kind of intricate letters. And so I actually prefer to use adhesive sheets when I'm working with those. So I have die cut that particular one 3 times to make it more of a dimensional make. And so I've cut it 3 times and stacked them all together so that you can get more dimensional sentiment when you're done. So first thing we're gonna do is we've got all our flowers, and I wanna give them a little bit of a lifelike look and feel. So we're going to use the sculpting toolkit, paper sculpting kit, I should say. And I've got my stylus tool and the gray molding mat. Just getting all my little pieces that I want to work with. So we're going to sculpt first, and then we'll start to like assemble the flower stacks. I like to work kind of in that order. I like to kind of get a bunch of pieces cut, play around with it. I might use everything, I might not, but I like to have options. So for this particular one, I knew I wanted probably about 5 or 6 flowers. So that's about what I've cut. And then I just have cut a ton of green foliage because I don't know when I start tucking things in how I'm gonna like them. So I just like to have options. I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. You don't know where you're gonna go when you start sometimes. So one of the tricks I like to do is with our paper sculpting kit, it comes with 3 different stylus tools. Making sure I'm grabbing the right ones, but I've got these 2 with me right here. So you get a pair of tweezers in that kit, you get a pair of scissors, and I use these, I'm not joking, every day. That's why they're on hand. I literally have them in a little jar right next to me, and I use everything almost every day. So it comes with 3 different stylus heads, these little round balls at the top right here, and they are perfect for sculpting paper flowers. You also have this quilling tool right here if you do any quilling. I also find that these work really nice on flowers where you have to like twirl them in on themselves. That's a great tool for that. So for these ones, since these are kind of small flowers, I'm going to end up using the stylus tool that has the 5mm and 8mm stylus heads. And with the bigger flowers, I'm going to use the 8mm. I flip them over onto the back side, and I just like to first kind of push in around the edges. let's see. And then I'm actually going to flip all of these over and do that. Okay, so on the smaller ones, I'm going to use the smaller tool head. And you're just going to go around the edges. Now, you can use any flowers that you might have in your stash. If you don't have any of these die sets, you can get the same look and feel if you're just interested in checking out our pattern paper, or if you're just interested in the flowers. There are actually some other die sets in Chapter 1 that I thought had really beautiful flowers in them. Hello Spring, which is more of an Easter set, has some really nice shapes in it. And then our number 1, it's probably one of our most popular dies from Chapter 1. In fact, I think it's our best-selling one, is called Jar of Flowers. That also has some amazing floral shapes. It also has the jar, which you can turn into kind of a dimensional make because it has the jar domes. And we've been doing lots of makes with those. Those have been really popular. I know I love a good mason jar project. So if you're interested in new florals other than the ones I'm showing today, those additional sets are really nice for making any kind of floral make, because the size of the flowers is nice. You get a couple of big ones, a couple of small ones, and then you get usually some really nice foliage elements. So now that I've sculpted that back side, I'm going to flip these over and I'm going to push down into the center on each of these. So I'm going to switch to the larger stylus tool head, and I'm just going to go in a circular motion, and what that ends up doing is just popping up those leaves, or not leaves, but the petals, we'll say, around the outside edge. Okay, so now that I've done all that, I'm going to also just kind of do these little itty bitty guys right here and just push down into the middle. This molding mat's perfect because it really captures the push into it, depending on how much you want your flowers to be molded. That is up to you. So I'm going to use our express glue to put the flowers together. I find express glue is great when working with paper flowers because it's quick drying. It's also transparent when it dries, so it's a clear drying glue. But I like to, especially when we're working with small flowers, I just take some of the express glue and I put it into a really fine tip nozzle glue thing, just because I find it easier to work with. So I'm going to start stacking my flowers and just adding glue to the back and creating my little flower stacks. And I like to play around with the different colors. I've also got some of the flower centers I cut from limoncello and some of our white cardstock in our neutral pack. I think I'm gonna layer these ones up. So I would love to know what kind of floral makes everyone has been there, if there's any like shapes or flowers or different ways that you like to use your flowers for cards or scrapbooks or home decor. I love doing flower projects, so I'm always curious to see how other people, what they make with them. How do you pick your color choices too? Like I know I get inspiration from the weirdest places. I'll be walking by a street and I'll see a flower bed, or I'll see like a sign, and I just like the color palette, so I'll take a picture and then I'll upload it to my computer and use it later for a card or some kind of project that I might have coming up. I find inspiration in the weirdest places sometimes. I'm sure I'm not the only one. So as you can see, it doesn't take a lot of glue, and I'm just kind of speeding up the process of them adhering together by pushing down into the center. Also, it's making that a little bit more dimensional. I'm going to add this one right here. I was also thinking as I made this and was kind of stepping it out, I thought this would be really pretty if you actually cut the flowers from the pattern paper in different patterns and did the same kind of bouquet type style card but with patterned paper flowers instead of cardstock flowers. And I was really tempted to scrap what I was doing and start over, but I was really worried that it wouldn't turn out. So I think I might try that again when I'm feeling a little bit more fearless. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I struggle with like matching my patterns up. I've been working in creative design for a really long time, and I've been scrapbooking and card making for like 20 years now. But I still get nervous trying new things sometimes because I feel like I'm going to be bad at it until I actually just play around. So I don't know if I'm alone in that. If I'm not alone, tell me what you still feel like you need to work on as a crafter, because matching patterns is something that I still struggle with sometimes. So I'm just going to add these little flowers, the flower centers on. Go. And then for these larger ones, I'm going to use the limoncello, which is a little bit of a lighter shade, so you can see a little bit of a contrast there. One trick I like to do especially with the Floral Crescent Moon die set, is there are, like I was telling you earlier, there's those embossing lines that are in the flowers and the leaves. So I'm going to take advantage of the ones on the leaves with a white gel pen and highlight those embossed marks, just because I feel like it adds a fun little feature. I'm not going to do it on the flower because I don't want to distract from the rest of the flowers, but I'll show you what I'm talking about just as soon as I get these glued together. And we'll do this nice bright blue right here. Not blue, but yellow. I like mixing them, like I picked 4 different colors essentially if you include the white. Oh, no, I did 4 because I've got 2 yellows, 2 blues, and then the white neutral. I find mixing and matching the colors is a fun way to keep it feeling cohesive and like it has a story, but also making everything feel unique and different. So that one I'm pushing down again because I really want that one to pop. Can you imagine if I had cut all these and and sculpted? You guys would be sitting here for forever. So I like showing what you can do with things. And so I thought it was more important I show you how to sculpt if you aren't familiar with our paper sculpting. An amazing little thing. So I've got these white gel pens that I like to use, like I was saying. So I'm going to pull my flowers over to the side now that they're all glued together. And I'm going to bring in just a few of the shapes that I die cut earlier from the Floral Crescent Moon, so that you can see what I'm talking about with the little embossed features. So with these, like I was saying, you can kind of see, I think it's, there it is. You can see that little embossed shape. So I like to highlight the embossed shape. So I go back over that with a white gel pen and just follow the embossed lines. And I just think it adds a fun little flair to your final die cuts. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I actually like when they feel more like a sketch doodle than this perfect line. But that's just personal preference. You obviously, if you want them to look really nice, can follow them exact. I just think it's fun to have a little bit of a differentiation sometimes. Okay, so that one started to go out a little bit. So that's done. So now I'm going to get to assembling my actual card. I've got a few more pieces. Like I was saying, I've cut a bunch of floral and foliage pieces, and we'll see if I end up using everything. But I have my card base. I cut a traditional card base, 8.5 by 5.5, and then I used the Arctic Sky, this really pretty pattern right here, and I used that for the card base, or for my panel, we'll say. And I need to grab, I forgot, my double-sided tape. Okay, so I'm going to use some double-sided tape and adhere this to the center of my card front. Now, I wanted my bouquet to look like it came as a wrapped bouquet. So I love going to the flower market and coming home with flowers wrapped in butcher paper, but I didn't want to use just brown cardstock. So that's why I chose to go with the really fun pattern paper, just because I wanted that same look and feel of a wrapped bouquet, but I didn't want it to be this brown color that just had no fun to it. So that's why I went with that really fun pattern. What I did is I cut it down into a 4 by 4 inch square, and then I cut it at an angle until I got a triangle. And then what I did is I cut that triangle where I knew I was going to want to wrap it and fold it. So what I did is I knew one edge would need to be kind of at an angle because it would wrap around the side, and it needed to be flat like this. And then on the other side, I knew that the lip would come in, and so I'd need to have a straight edge right here, but then also have it wrap at an angle. So you can see I just kind of played around with it and got to the shape I have. So it's this weird looking triangle now, but you've got one edge that's flat, and then one edge that starts to come down and then goes flat. And then what I did is I basically rolled it in on itself until I got a corner up here that I liked. And then you just kind of fold. This will then come up at an angle, which you want it to once it folds in on itself. So you can see I have it come up because this one's going to go across and also come up at an angle. That's what gives it that wrapped look. So I kind of just hand did this, and then what I did over here was I did the same thing, but I wanted to make sure that these were as close to parallel as possible. So kind of keep that as a loose roll until you get it at the angle that you want, which I did right there. And then you're just going to flatten that out, and then you just wrap this around the back side, and then you glue this down once you've put in all your little stems. So as you can see, I want the flowers coming off the top. Well, these aren't long enough to go down the very bottom, so I wanted to fake the stems coming out at the bottom of the bouquet. So I took and cut little strips of the not mint julep, sorry, the green tea and the agave. And as you can see, I just cut them and put them into that panel right here that covers and closes. And then I can just glue that together and then start sticking flowers in there. So one thing I want to say is when you're gluing this down, you don't want to glue around the top area because you want to be able to stick leaves in. So you want to leave this part so that it's dimensional and will be open. So I just glued towards the bottom half. So I'm just going to glue down here, and then I'm going to glue this bottom half of the panel right here, and then I'll just glue this backside piece. Okay, so now I've got those, and what I did is I took my crescent moon shape from earlier and that I cut earlier, and I put it here on the card panel. Now I want my bouquet to kind of fit into this opening, so I lay this down at kind of the angle that I want it to be, the flowers to be going at, and then I'm going to leave that there so that I can glue this into place. One thing I would recommend, I didn't do it with this just because I knew I was only going to glue in a couple of different places, but if you want this to lay really flat, I would place an adhesive sheet on the back of your cardstock before you cut it, and then that way when you cut it, it turns what you just cut into a sticker, and it'll make it easier and less mess-free, or mess-free I should say, when you're going to lay it down. I just knew I was going to put glue in just a couple places, not over the whole thing, so, and the flowers were going to cover up most of it. Sometimes I'm a messy crafter, sometimes I'm a neat crafter, it just depends on my mood of the day. But then I'm just going to lay it down, kind of get it into the place I want it to be, and then lay that down. Next, I'm going to glue this little guy into place, so I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive on the back of just this wrapped portion and lay it in at the angle I want my flowers to go in at. So I want it a little bit of an angle right there. And now I'm just gonna kind of build out my scene. I like to lay everything out and then go in and glue stuff. And that's just my personal preference, but I'll kind of lay by layer, if that makes any sense. So I know that I'm gonna have these taller pieces that fit out the top. And I know those are probably gonna stay there because I really want this to seem like a full bouquet. And so that means that these ones I might tuck a little bit more here and there, have them angled differently, and then I'll tuck other pieces in. But I know that that back layer, I want those pieces to be tall. So I'm gonna just glue those in immediately. But I definitely want them at a variety of angles. And this is my trick, I only glue the bottom third usually on these types of cards for any die cut piece because I like my stuff to stand out and be dimensional. So I only glue towards the bottom half so that everything feels lifelike. Also, my tip is I like to tuck flowers and tuck leaves. And if you glue the whole way up the spine, you don't have that ability to kind of tuck things in and make it feel natural. And so I like leaving myself options, especially if I'm building a scene. I don't want to glue it down to the point where if I were to pull it up, it would ruin the whole thing. If I were to pull this up right now, the only thing it would ruin is this back piece, which I'm going to cover completely anyway, so I wouldn't see it. One thing I will say is I like to kind of lay my flowers out and decide, okay, this color is going to go here, this color is going to go here, and then that helps me also build out where I want to kind of have more leaves, if I want to make anything dimensional, and then also figure out kind of the placement of my flowers. So with these, I might have one come out a little bit further, so then I want to have a leaf come out that direction so that there's green behind it. So I know I'm going to have some come this way, so I'm just going to glue a couple in. So like I said, I'm going to tuck underneath right here, and then I leave that loose so that it feels lifelike coming out of there. So I know I want a couple up here. Okay, so I've got an idea of where my flowers are gonna go. So now I'm gonna just start kind of laying pieces in and tucking them in different variations. The goal is essentially to cover the blue, and your flowers will cover up a good portion. If you're worried about things showing through, your flowers are gonna cover up a lot of that. And I'm just gonna keep tucking and putting foliage down. This is really up to you, how you want it to look. It's your bouquet. You can change out the colors depending on the season. You can send this with pinks and purples. You can send it with fall colors. What's also cool about this is you can change out the die sets and send a bunch of different types of florals depending on the type of year. Like you could use poinsettias if you're doing this for the holidays. You can use like the really bright spring colors if you're going to send this over the summer. Fall colors, add in some acorns and stuff, or pine cones for Thanksgiving. It's really fun and versatile to do this style of a card with a bouquet because you can change it up throughout the year, but then you can also just change it up by doing different colors. Or even doing it out of different materials. Like you could do all of these out of metallics if you wanted to, the opulent cardstock, and do like a neutral theme, or if you're doing an anniversary card, you can do it out of golds and silvers, or if you're doing it for a wedding or a bridal shower or baby shower, you can do it out of white or ivory. Okay, so I've got my pieces in. Now I'm going to start adding in my flowers. And a few of these I want to be dimensional. So I've got some foam tape right here, and I'm just going to cut little pieces of foam tape to go behind like probably 3 of these flowers. I know for sure the big one I want to have some dimension on. So I'm going to lay this one down first because I feel like your biggest piece is always the one you want to place first, because everything else will go around that focal point. Okay, so I think I want this one down this direction because I know I want to have a couple of leaves come right here. I've saved a few for this bottom area. And then I know I want to tuck in this yellow up here, so I'm going to kind of pull those leaves up and then tuck this yellow one in. So you can see like the green's able to come in and make it feel more natural. And then I think I'm gonna put some foam tape behind this other one right here. Another fun thing you could do with the flowers is you can cut a frame if you wanted to. You could cut, take like 2 square shapes or 2 ovals, whatever you wanted, and do a 2 nested shapes inside of each other and cut a frame. And then you could actually just do a loose leaf bouquet kind of centered inside the frame, or even just the bouquet by itself. And wrap some actual twine around the bouquet and then hot glue that down to the center. I think that would be really pretty. I'm giving myself my own inspirational ideas as I'm making this. You could also build out a scene. I love building a scene. I think that's another one of my favorite things to do, is to take dies and then build a scene with it. So you could actually do like a window box frame and have it be like you're looking out into a garden. I might have to make all of these now. You would think I have tons of time to craft, but I don't get to craft as often as I want for my own ideas. I'll have to make some time because some of these ideas I really like. Okay, so then I want to tuck that one under like that. Okay, and then this one I'm gonna have coming out over here. I'm gonna tuck it in underneath. I like to make it look realistic, and you know, anytime that you've got a real bouquet, your flowers are all over the place. So I wanted the bouquet to look like that. And the beauty of these is even if you've cut all your pieces, and then once you're done, it feels like there's gaps or holes, just cut more foliage or cut more flowers and tuck things and fill in the spaces that you're not happy with. That is something I like to do. I also, then once I'm done, I'll go back through and I'll start pulling up portions, and I didn't put enough glue on this one. I'll start pulling up pieces so it feels like more dimensional. I'll go back in and kind of twist things. I'm gonna pull this one up right here. And then I've got these 2 final leaves that I cut, and I'm gonna kind of fold them in on themselves just to make them feel more lifelike. And then I'm just gonna put glue at the bottom, and I'm gonna tuck them in right here so that I'm filling in this gap that I knew was gonna be created once I started laying everything down. So once you've got all your flowers in, got everything glued down, then you wanna die cut your sentiment, figure out where you want it to go. I knew I wanted something to be on the actual bouquet, like one of the words. So I've die cut the width 3 times, stacked them with and adhered them together, and then I'm just gonna add adhesive just to the center portion because the rest hang off the edge, so I don't want them to be sticky. And then you add your width, and then I'll do the same with the love, and I'm gonna put that right below. I just realized I need to put a little bit more glue on the back side of this one. There we go. And then I'll add glue to the back of this one. And that one I'm going to tuck right here on the base of the card. And there she is. I'm so happy with this. I love the colors. I love the pattern paper. Like I said, the new pattern paper pack, 80 sheets, really nice sturdy cardstock, comes in 20 different colors, different patterns for each one. And that one, if you're interested, is 665-275 if you're interested in looking that up. I hope you enjoyed this. I really love this card, and I am excited to see you guys all make cards like this. If you have made a card after watching this, I would love if you would share it with me in the comments below, and I will definitely check them out. Would love to be inspired by you guys, so definitely shoot us a message with your pictures, and I look forward to seeing you all in a little bit. And there it is. Beautiful florals that are versatile. You can use them the way they come, but you can also combine them, make new combinations. I personally love the different ways that different flower shapes actually feel more organic to what you would find at a flower shop or in a bouquet or something like that. And this card has been so fun to make, and don't forget you can do it in tons of different colorways. You can create it for Mother's Day, which is coming up in the next few months. You can do Easter cards, you can do spring cards, happy birthday, love you, you name it, it's possible. I think that's the beauty with florals, is that you can take them, turn them into a bunch of different styles to fit any holiday season, and they're very evergreen no matter what time of year they're released. I hope you guys had fun today and enjoyed this make just as much as I had making it, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.